seems like it works pretty well. And so this is the idea of goal visualization. Don't just visualize the good part, take time to do both parts. But both of these aren't enough unless you add in the third component too, which I'm going to call goal planning. And we all know this. Like, we could have had a really specific goal. When I go to the dining hall, I'm going to eat the healthy apple, right? And we could have thought about the outcome or so on. But sometimes you plop yourself into the situation when you're supposed to do the thing, and there's this tempting thing there that you maybe you thought about the obstacle, but when you're in the situation, in the here and now that situation is affecting you implicitly. Now it's automatically grab the pizza, grab the pizza. So how do you intervene on the automatic way that situations affect you without realizing it? How do you intervene on the fact that the candy jar just being present is going to mess you up? And this is what a researcher, Peter Gollwitzer, has figured out. He's figured out a way to not just have a plan, but to have a plan so implicitly that it allows you to get through situations like this automatically without having to recruit much willpower. And it's a set of techniques that he refers to as implementation intentions. Basically, the idea is that it's a strategy that you have in the form of an if-then plan that can help you lead to better goal attainment. But it works in some of the same ways as mental contrasting, where you just kind of practice it outside the situation. You just have time where you think and you visualize, if I'm in the dining hall and I see the pizza, I will turn and walk away, grab the orange. If I'm in the dining hall and I see the pizza, I will turn away, grab the orange. You set it up in it sounds really silly, but you set it up in a very specific if-then plan. And it turns out that our automatic systems can pay attention to that stuff. Our automatic systems listen if you put it in with that level of specificity, and it seems to actually increase habit change and performance. One of the most powerful ways Gollwitzer talks about the implementation intentions is to help you remember stuff. It's also a very powerful intervening technique on memory. So if I want to remember my keys, I think of some specific action I'm going to do, when I grab the doorknob to leave, think keys. When I grab the doorknob to leave, think keys. And automatically as I grab the doorknob, all of a sudden that plan pops up and it can actually help me. Again, sounds like why would visualizing this if-then plan help? But it turns out empirically, it just seems to work. It seems to kind of act on our automatic urges and our automatic motor actions. And so here's just one piece of evidence for this. Gollwitzer and colleagues tried to look at whether or not people having implementation intentions, this really specific if-then plan, could help them kind of do well on their New Year's resolutions, and a kind of particular form of New Year's resolutions, your resolutions that you have after you get back from break. So some of you may have experienced this. You're going home for Christmas break and you're thinking about next semester, and you're next semester, I'm going to have this goal. Some of those goals might be easy, some of them might actually be hard, real things you want to change. And the question is, what controls whether or not you succeed? And what they did was just to survey students about what their goals were, whether they were easy or hard. And they asked, do you have this implementation intention? Have you really practiced? When I get back, if this happens, then I will do that. And you just saw naturally who had this sort of thing. And then he looked back and tried to see whether or not people succeeded. And here's how he finds, if you look at the percentage of people who succeed, for easy to implement goals, having this implementation intention formed, which is a yellow bar, it helps a little, but not tremendously. And that's because easy goals, you're probably just going to achieve it. You don't need a lot of help. But what about for harder goals? What he finds is that having this implementation intention, this really specific if-then plan, can increase your percentage of succeeding about threefold for harder goals. So really having if-then plan, that's going to actually help you out. And so that's the kind of third piece, which is the goal planning, really having this if-then plan. But now the question is okay, I've given you all these strategies.